Welcome, angry faithful. Yes, this is Nerd Sports episode 132. And today we're going to talk about the new sport that's coming out. I promise I laugh my ass off. It's yeah, it's
I'm sorry.
nerd.
It,
We're
Listen,
probably
I'm
going to
sorry,
get dinged for the music.
the fact that they did not use the squeaky toy sound effect.
Alexa, stop.
Yeah.
Alexa,
Jeez, Alexa, what the hell?
Yeah. But
Oh,
I guess
if I
it's,
say
I guess
that-
it's for like little kids.
And mind fires. I was like, did you say something?
so there. You laugh though, but you realize the Shetland ponies are like the meanest horses.
Dude,
They
you have
are
no idea.
Well, so are the wee people.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's like Satan
You,
writing
you
on a
have no
bell
idea.
rock.
I had a friend of mine. She had a miniature pony, and fucker got out. And if it wasn't for another guy like trapping him, I had the rope ready and everything. I swung it. It just dodges it like 15 different times. I couldn't fucking rope that damn thing.
Mhm.
Because
Tell-
they're unbelievably fast and quick. It's not even funny. I hated that
Shetland
damn
ponies
thing.
are-
I wanted
You, David, going out for a Yellowstone audition trying to rope a Shetland pony.
that shit.
I would watch that. 100%. I would watch that.
And it'd
I
have
mean-
to be a full read, right? Like a
Put this
table
on.
read. You get the girl that plays teeter. She was like, "You dumb some bitch."
Do I look like a Peter, you dumb son of a bitch? God, I love that show.
I can't wait till
Mm.
I guess it's this Sunday where Bass Reeves comes out.
Where what?
Bass Reeves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm not interested in hearing it. I don't really care. The whole Kevin Costner debacle thing with Yellowstone, but I really want to see what Matthew McConaughey does with it.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Because we've seen we've seen Matthew McConaughey play a gangster. You know. Did you see that movie that he was in?
The Gentleman?
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
such a great movie.
We went to that movie, didn't we?
Classic. Instant classic.
Didn't we go to that movie, or was it? Oh no, it was Wrath of
That's
Man.
the 3-minute mark. Like Charlie Hunnam going, "Listen up, you cunts!" Like I'm sitting there going, "Yes, yes." You know, and Matthew McConaughey's talking about. He's like, "You physically put your hands on my wife." Right?
Yeah,
He pulled
that part where
very
he's
nice.
all calm and he's like, this is not
Yeah.
about the money. I am not emotional about the money. He goes, but you put your hands on my wife. And he said it calm. You put my hands on my
Yeah.
wife. And just
Yeah.
like, my wife. And I was like, oh, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you know, and it
Well,
was
it's
like
not
you
over
realized
without
that he was
without
getting
the
screwed
flesh.
over, and I'm like sitting there going, I'm like,
A penny shy or an ounce short, that door does not
Oh,
open.
yeah.
Oh my
Or an
gosh,
ounce
that was
short. Oh, no,
such
it was a gram short.
Graham.
Penny
That's
high
right.
or a gram short, that door does not open. I'm
Oh,
sitting there going, I'm
God,
like,
that scene was
oh.
so. The
like
payoff
we
on that
know Matthew McConaughey. You know, he walks around his house stoned out of his gourd, naked as the day is long, playing his bongo drums. I get
Right.
it. He's laid back and he just chilled. And he's all right. I get it. But when he wants to put his mind to it and he plays somebody just evil, oh, bro.
he brings it.
Oh,
I would love to see him like full on play a villain. I think he would be fantastic as a full on villain.
He
yeah.
did.
You know, no, now, okay. hear me out.
He's played a bad guy, but not a full villain. There's
I
a
would
difference.
instead of Jonathan Majors, and this has got nothing to do with the color or anything. Jonathan Majors, I'm not buying him as Kang. I would love to have seen Matthew McConaughey play Kang. Because you think about it,
He played Mr.
he would have
Black
to
in
put on a master class. He would have to put on a master class in acting, right?
Right.
Because he has to play all the different variants. It's almost like Brent Spiner playing, Data in Picard season 3, where he's fighting between Dr. Soong, Lore, and Data. He's having to switch without any cues. Like you don't know it's coming.
Right.
He switches, right? Masterclass. And
Right.
the fact that Brent Spiner did not get nominated for an Emmy for that performance is a travesty.
I agree. He knocked
Absolute
it out
travesty. But I would love to see Matthew McConaughey play. I would have loved to have seen him play Kang. Just hands down. That would be freaking awesome.
He
Big bad Marvel decides to push out like phase 20.
Yeah.
Colossus.
No, he played a bad guy in the Dark Tower.
Right. I'm talking about, over the top. Everybody that does a Marvel role has to like go get a personal trainer and get absolutely shredded, right? And then their faces get all chiseled, and so they look just like extra badass that way.
Mhm.
Just seeing Matthew McConaughey just kind of get into that and see that vein pop up on his forehead. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Like, yes, he played the wizard in the Dark Tower, but the Dark Tower itself was such an awful adaptation. They did not do that movie justice.
They didn't
do the books.
They didn't do the books justice at all, because I read those books. And like, I'm not a big Stephen King fan. I'm just going to put that out there. I know, gasp. It's Halloween season. You're supposed to love. Fuck that shit. I don't have to love
It's
anything.
an acquired taste.
Okay. The only thing that Stephen King and I have in common is that he's a diehard Red Sox fan. Past that, I could care less. And I'm just putting that out. All right. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I have mine. You have yours. Let's just call it a day. Keep scrolling if you don't like it. I don't really give two shakes of a rat's ass. But I did read the Dark Tower series, and I liked it because, I mean, it was kind of a cool, like a pseudo Western kind of thing.
Mostly, it
had that. I don't want to besmirch the man, because I mean, when I think Western, right, I'm thinking Louis L'Amour,
right?
And
right there,
it kind of sort of tried to skip off the atmosphere of Louis L'Amour world, and kind of took some elements of the atmosphere with it, but it still had that suspense, horror, kind of a fantasy thriller thing going on. And I actually did get into those books, and it was kind of cool. So, but yeah, the movies were just, I mean, the movie rather was, it just.
That was the thing, is you're trying to jam, what was it, 7 books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hefty books. Except obviously the first one was a little light, but these are hefty books, and you're jamming all of that into an hour and a half. It was like a 83-minute runtime. It was stupid.
I mean,
you can't jam that much lore into it. If you would have made it a 2.5-hour movie, obviously, I mean, you really could have done that as a miniseries like they did with The Stand.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, that movie came out pre-Twilight movies, right?
No.
Came after.
Why didn't they take that cue? Why didn't they take a page from that playbook? I mean, if they can take Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows and split it into 2 movies, which I was a big fan of, by the way. I know it was a money grab and you were just extending it out. I get all that.
Yeah.
Because each movie was still like, what, 2.5 hours?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. There was a lot of ground to cover in that last book. Right. Now, splitting it into 2 movies, great, awesome. Why couldn't they have done the same thing with the Dark Tower?
Bro, if they could split The
Like-
Hobbit into 3 movies, then you could fucking
Yeah.
put
Yeah, exactly.
books
I
into
mean, look at-
a
look
movie
at-
at least.
look
The
what they
Fellowship
did with
of the
the
Ring
Joker.
movies, the Fellowship trilogy, beautiful. It was a master class in cinematography.
Look what they did with the Joker, though. They're going as like, oh, we're gonna do the Killing Joke. I was like, oh yeah, do it. And then when it showed up, I was like, well, that was a letdown. I won't see the second one because I've seen the Killing Joke. I used to have the freaking comics. That was a masterpiece, and they were just like, oh, we're gonna put this name on it. No one's gonna notice. No, they're gonna notice, motherfucker. They're gonna notice.
No, they're not going to know. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna kick this off here real quick. We know it's a sports show, and everybody shows up and like,
Got the nerd part out of the way early.
we're talking about nerd shit.
That's right. We are a sports podcast. I forgot about
Right.
that.
Oh God, but really?
That's true.
Yeah, oh,
It's called Nerd Sport.
like you had one job. Like, okay.
You fell every time.
So the World Series is tied at a game apiece. Now, game 1, man, dude,
Oh, that was a good game.
yeah, you know what? Yeah. Honestly, I'm pulling for Arizona, but you know, dude, that the way the game 1 ended, I mean, you can't script it any better,
Right.
right? And everybody, you know, and I'm sitting there going, you know, I'm reading like on Reddit and Twitter, and all these people are like, yeah, Rangers in 5, Rangers in 4, you know, Rangers are going to sweep, Rangers in 6, and I'm sitting there going,
Let's go on 7 games.
I was like, you know, can we just not start quite sucking each other's dicks just yet? You know, because the last time that Arizona was in the World Series, 2001, they lost game 1, and it went 7 games. Now,
Mhm.
here's some numerology for you if you believe in that kind of thing. The dates of this World Series are the exact same dates that the World Series was in 2001.
Mm.
Arizona lost game 1 of that World Series, and they won it in 7 games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
no,
difference between that World Series and this one is that Texas has home field advantage versus Arizona back in 2001, because in 2001, that was still when the NL and the National League and American League would swap. They would trade home field advantage every year.
Right.
You know, before Bud Selig decided to have that crazy idea that the winner of the All-Star game got it. And I'm like, can we just not do that? I mean, really, can we just not do that? Because with the first year that they tried to pull that was when the All-Star game was in Seattle. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it was Cal Ripken Jr.'s last All-Star game. And Chipper Jones goes, you know what? I'm going to give him a hit at, you know, his last All-Star game at bat. And he absolutely whiffed on a ground ball on purpose.
Texas just scored.
Yeah, I see that. It's all right. It's only game 2 or game 3 rather. But
It is. It's early.
there's really all right. So Chris, I'm going to ask you this. And now I'm going to preface this with I'm not really for or against it kind of a thing, because I mean, obviously this is above our pay grade. But there are a lot of people in this particular viewpoint or idea is gaining a lot of steam online, that Adolis Garcia needs to be tested for PEDs.
I would say if you're gonna do that, then just blanket.
Go ahead and do it.
Just
Yeah,
blanket
well.
test everybody.
Yeah. Well, and see, okay, so
But what bothers me about it is that nobody said anything about anything until he started breaking out, and he did break out big in the postseason.
yeah,
Nobody's denying that.
right.
But you know, he also had a good regular season.
Yeah,
Like,
he did. He did. But it's the record pace.
Right.
But aside from the record pace, and really this guy has nothing to do with well, I mean, it for me at least, it doesn't have anything to do with the ALCS. But as far as the viewpoint that people have, the reason why they're justifying it, at least in their own minds, as to why he should get tested, is stemming from the fact that, like, if you look at a picture of Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa at the height of their steroid usage, dude, their shoulders,
Oh, their forearms were like
yeah,
as their calves.
right?
They were
So
massive.
you look at Garcia's arms, you look at his shoulders, and then you compare them to his traps, right? And they're disproportionate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no symmetry there. And so everybody's like, okay, well, he's got the body markings, not track marks or anything like that, or acne on the back, but
Yeah.
he's got the telltale signs of somebody using steroids in that region of the body.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of people that are like, now I don't know if a lot of these are just like really bitter Houston Astro fans, and if that's the case, let me kind of caveat this a little bit here. It was a great series. Everybody wanted an instant classic series. They got one.
Mhm.
Okay. Houston, like a lot of teams that are favored to win a particular series that end up not winning it, like Texas in 2011. Okay. They needed to show up for game 6 and 7, and they didn't. Okay. The Astros did not show up for game 6. They did not show up for game 7. The effort was there, but it was too little, too late. Okay. There were
Right.
plenty of opportunities. When you go like 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position,
Yeah.
you have got nobody but yourself to blame.
Right.
Okay. Now,
And you're leaving people on base almost every single inning and
Exactly.
in scoring position at that.
Texas came down to a fly ball away from winning their first World Series championship in 2011. Okay. Nelson Cruz does his best, Baryshnikov impression and does a pirouette out in the outfield and completely tanks a standard routine fly ball. Okay. And then David Freese happens.
Right.
Okay. Game 7. Okay. Great. We'll see you tomorrow night. Okay. Show up for game 7. Josh Hamilton didn't play right. Freaking Ian Kinsler didn't play. I mean, they were there. They were on the roster. They played. They were present on the field. They were in the batter's box. But mentally, I think that they were checked out.
Yes.
You know, like, okay, they got lucky, and we've been kind of crushing it, and they showed up. To me, the Astros had that mentality going into game 6 and 7, right? They sit there and absolutely steal one in game 5.
Mhm.
Then they go home where they have not won in this series. And basically, to me, it looked like they mailed it in, right?
Yeah, it wasn't the same team as you saw.
Right.
Even the last half.
Game 7, you had the opportunity in game 7 to beat Max Scherzer, and they were touching him up.
Oh, yeah.
And when you got into the Texas bullpen, all of a sudden, your aggressiveness at the plate changed.
Right.
Okay. You kind of went into
like they changed their entire game plan.
Yeah, I mean, you need to stay aggressive. First pitch swings, maybe lay off of 1 or 2 until you get a good favorable count. You get ahead like 3-0 or 3-1, right? And that guy's going to throw a fastball because he's trying to get one into the zone.
Yeah.
And then you just tee off, do that, right?
Right.
They didn't do it. Okay. So butthurt all aside, that's on them. Okay. They've got some soul searching on that team to do, to figure out. They got contracts to extend. They've got free agents to sign. Winter meetings are there for a reason. Fix your team and then come back next year. Okay.
Exactly.
But getting back to Adolis Garcia, they've got, when Garcia got plunked in the 8th inning of game 6, or no, game 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He reacted in such a violent manner. And I'm not talking like violent, like he was instantly throwing haymakers. It wasn't like he was Odor, lighting up Joey Bautista.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, he took that pitch, slammed his bat down, and then immediately turned to the nearest player to him, which just happened to be Martin Maldonado, and put his hands on the guy.
Yeah.
and then had to be physically restrained and blockaded at several points during the entirety of that bench clearing scuffle. And that's what people were pointing to. It was like he got hit, whether or not it was intentional. Because I mean, you know, Brian Abreu was like, "My bad." You can see him doing this in the video. He's like, "My bad." You know, whether I mean, I don't think that it was an intentional plunking. That's just me. And again, I'm
as
not
a
a
Rangers fan,
fan by
I
any
also
stretch.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but you know, the way that he reacted and the way that he continued to act during that whole incident,
I think
really
part of the
started
problem,
having people point fingers at him. Then, you know, it's like that one in game 7 where he hit kind of like he like one-handed it almost down and away. You know, he was going for that slider down and away,
Mhm.
and he reached out and just kind of slapped at it, and it still went out.
Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of people that are like, that should not happen. You know, um, especially with a hitter like him, because he's always back on his heels. He's not out there on his toes. He's got a good balance. The guy's got talent. But it was just like the explosiveness of the numbers from the end of the regular season all the way to now, you know. And I mean, even on swings and misses, the guy's got a bat speed of over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well,
You
let me
know.
ask you this. If the Rangers had lost game 7, he still had, you know, his record-breaking pace, but if
Mhm.
they had lost game 7, do you think anybody would be having this conversation?
You know, honestly, I don't know. Now, I will say this, that I think a majority of the you know, the grumblings about getting him tested is probably coming from Astros fans.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm going is that's
Yeah.
what kind of bothers me
But
is that you didn't hear
the
anything
movement
about
is
this
still
game.
out there. Right, but the movement is still out there,
Right.
you know? And
And I'm not trying to make apologies for him. Let me
No,
make
no,
that clear
no.
right now. I'm not
No.
you need to temper some of that because you didn't hear anybody say anything during the regular season. It wasn't until he reached the postseason, and you're not going to go if he is using,
Yeah.
you're not going to see that. It's not going to happen from the end of the regular season into the postseason. He's going to blow up where he started using them now. Like if he's using them, he's been using them all year.
Yeah.
Why
And
was that conversation during the regular season?
right,
That's
and I think a lot of that is because, you know, with the postseason, there's fewer teams, the spotlight is bigger.
which is
You
a good
know,
point.
right. I mean, because during the course of the regular year, I mean, regardless of the size of the contracts that the Rangers are now paying out, they are considered a medium market team.
Right.
So
Which is
they
fair.
they don't have the TV, the national television exposure that a lot of the large market teams like, you know, Boston or New York or Los Angeles do. So, you know, it's almost, I mean,
Well,
would
and
you
normally I would
hear
say that.
yeah, now would you hear that argument like, "Hey, he needs to be tested"? Probably not until the winter meetings,
Right.
when all the
Well,
general
no,
managers would
I
get together.
pulled it up while you were talking.
Mhm.
Often they do the
Looks like
testing.
it's up for
They do it
nothing.
twice per year, once during spring training and once at a random date.
Yeah. Well,
So he should have been caught already if he was actually doing any kind of steroids.
anybody who's ever done steroids will tell you that you don't do them consistently. You have to cycle. And, you know, you've got, you know, sometimes you can go as far or as long as I think like 45 days in between cycles. Your body's not going to like it, but you can go 45 days in between cycles.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not pointing the finger. I'm not saying that he
It
is. I'm
shows,
not saying
okay, if taken orally, steroids can show up in a urine test up to 14 days. If the injection steroids can show up in a month. So, but you still have the randomness of the drug test. So if they do it like in the beginning of the season, and they do the first one during the scheduled one, the first one, and then you go off, and probably around about August, I would think probably
Mhm.
about June, depending on the randomness, you're still taking steroids. And a lot of people don't understand that when you actually take steroids, like on a constant basis,
Mhm.
sometimes it could be like uh, from a doctor. I mean, you had uh,
Yeah, well, see,
Chris took steroids because he had bronchitis.
now Fernando Tatis Jr. last year, he was on a prescription for a topical ointment for an infection,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that was prescribed to him by a team doctor, and he still got suspended for 45 days for a substance coming up on the banned substance list.
Yeah.
So, whether or not it helped out his performance or not, he's still tagged as a guy who used PEDs. Now,
Which that's on the team doctor there.
it is. That's on the team doctor. Now, the point that I was trying to get to is that with a lot of these pharmacists that are out there, these performance doctors and strength conditioners and stuff like that. I mean, the supplement market itself is constantly changing up formulas. They're constantly looking for something. Um, because I mean that is a multi-billion dollar a year industry. I mean you've got athletes of both amateur and professional levels taking supplements. You've got bodybuilders, you've got everyday dickheads like you and I, out there. I mean, buying this stuff by the billions of
No,
dollars. And so,
looking at a package right now of vitamin supplements that I just got from Amazon today, sitting on my couch.
yeah, and dude,
Wide range of things that you're going to get. It's
normally
not,
normally I take a multivitamin and I take a lot of supplements.
right.
But like, dude, my body's freaking revolting or rebelling against me because I've had to go. Well, last Friday when I did my pre-op stuff with the VA, they
Mhm.
were like, "Yeah, you need to stop taking everything until after the surgery because we need your blood levels to be consistent. We need a baseline for the anesthesia." And I'm like, "Oh wow, okay,
This is gonna be fun.
right." So I mean, I get migraines like bad,
Right.
and so they're sitting there telling me, "Well, you can't take Excedrin anymore. You can't take Advil. You can only take Tylenol, and you have to be sparing with that." I'm sitting there going, "Oh." So yeah,
Can we just go in the back right now and take care of this thing? Because
I spent a lot of time just sitting in my shower with the hot water running over me, dude, just to get everything to release, and I'm just like, yeah. So it sucks, but
Well, there was actually a thing, and this is
and
this
Maria has joined the chat. Everybody,
oh, there she is.
very,
Rhea?
no, there is actually a thing, and this was probably around about 10, probably 13 years ago.
Mhm.
And there's still some more stuff you can talk about it, but they were literally giving out pills. I mean, I have like the multi vitamins that I got when we went to the race, and I still take those. But they were putting just sawdust in a lot of the pills.
Yeah,
It
well,
was just made up of sawdust.
like the stuff that Mark McGuire was pegged for using, right? Not
Mm.
pegged. Pegged is a bad word to use. A lot of the substance that he was caught with is called androstenedione, right? Androstenedione is an over-the-counter supplement. It's not an anabolic steroid. So, what it is, or what it was before they banned it, what it did is it helped your muscles retain water longer, so you could get a longer burn, right?
Yeah.
I used to take androstenedione constantly, right? And dude, I freaking loved it. I mean, it have you either one of you ever taken niacin?
No, I never took any kind of stuff to build up.
Yeah, so niacin kind of like raises your body temperature a little bit, right? Kind of makes you feel like you're kind of overheating a little bit. But
Yeah.
you have to drink a ton of water with it, and it also helps, increase the longevity of the burn.
Is that
So-
like going keto? Because you got to drink a whole shit ton of water when you do a keto diet, or you're.
I mean, because with keto, it's you're cutting out carbohydrates, so your body has to like readjust where it's pulling the energy reserves from. Because after I think like a week, of going keto. Once you're in ketosis, your body starts to pull energy from your fat reserves, and so that's what that's what sparks the weight loss. But the problem with keto is that if you cheat on it even once, you just throw everything out of whack.
Yeah.
But with androstenedione, I mean, you could buy it back then. It was like, I don't know, it was like $20 a bottle, and it came with like 60 tablets in it.
Oh wow.
And yes, I mean, and it was sold. Yeah, they sold it at GNC. They sold it at supermarkets. Like when I was living in Tennessee after I got out of the army, it was you could buy it at Kroger. And so I mean, I was taking that and I was lifting. I was working out all the time. And I loved it. I loved being on it. It didn't like make you rage or anything like that. It just made you incredibly thirsty. And not like cotton mouth dries you out or anything like that, but you just really just kind of felt parched. So you had to consume a large amount of water. And then obviously you offset that with like salt, so that way you can retain your electrolytes and stuff. But
Yeah.
that when they busted Mark McGuire for androstenedione, I was like, really? And then they came out with this huge revised list of banned substances right there. It was like number 15 on the list. It was androstenedione. And so he was like, oh, well, okay, whatever. Because I mean, he openly admitted that, said, it's like, hey, I only take androstenedione. So he doesn't cycle or do anything. It's like, I don't cycle. I don't have to take a cleanser. I'm just straight androstenedione. It's on the over the counter. And me, like, he was buying it in the same bottles that I was buying it in.
Right.
And but I mean, as far as Garcia is concerned, I mean, if he is taking anything that just hasn't been put on the banned list yet, and the tests that MLB has, if they're not picking this substance up, hey, good for him, because if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Right.
I mean, unlike the Astros, unlike the Red Sox, unlike Bill Belichick, sometimes
Right.
you get caught, you're not trying hard enough, apparently. So it's and even the Dodgers. Did I say the Dodgers?
No.
The
No, I
Dodgers.
don't think
So I mean, cheating has been a part of the game for as long as anybody can remember. From stealing signs to people like Ty Cobb playing the game drunk or hungover, or David Wells when he pitched his perfect game in New York. He said he was drunk, and he doesn't remember most of that game.
I still remember
Babe Ruth, and what was his he was drinking beer and hot dogs.
He hit 71 home runs in a single season, and what we call an abbreviated season, because back then the seasons were only, I think, like 82 games. Right? He did that on a diet of hot dogs, beer, and cigars.
Exactly.
And porterhouse steaks that were served to him on the team train.
Exactly.
So, and I'm like, all right. Everybody's like, oh, with the ball, you can't be cheating if everybody's doing it. Well, no, that's technically true, because you still have to have the talent to hit the ball.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
That's like the Tour de France when they finally got Armstrong, and they had to go through like 24 people until they got one guy that didn't do anything.
They took a SWAT team to his house to make him physically surrender his 7 Tour de France trophies.
Yeah.
I'm like, you stripped him of the titles, at least let him keep the hardware, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, we want the trophies back. Like, that's petty. But
let me ask you this. Do you think that the whole juicing issue, do you think that could be solved by having and I know you would have to make it random, because there is a way, if you time it right, you would be able to avoid the test. But if you do it at a random time before the postseason starts, sometime in the month of September, you're going to test the entire league, or at least those who are.
Look what they're doing with MMA.
Here's my thing.
At the UFC. Okay.
Here's I'm sorry, David. If you're going to do that, if you're going to, like, okay, postseason's coming up, you got a month to the postseason, right? It's a random lot drawn from the highest offensive producers.
I could see that.
Okay. So if you have a shit-tastic September, right? And then all of a sudden you're killing it in October. Well, guess what, buddy? You're going to come with me and you're going to pee in this cup real quick, and we're going to get some nice E6 from the Army to stand over you and watch your junk while you pee in that cup.
Absolutely. We need a meat gazer, professional meat gazer.
Professional meat gazer, right?
Well, it's like what they're doing with the UFC is they're going to the people's houses and like banging on their door, and some of the fighters are like, "Hey, you're gonna sit here."
Tito
till I'm
Ortiz,
ready."
yeah, like they went to Tito Ortiz's house.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem with that though is the UFC doesn't have the players union. There is no way the players union is going to let some shit like that go down.
I mean, the players union for both the NFL. Well, actually, the NFL's player or the NFL Players Association or Players Union. There's NFL players that have come out. They were like, "Yeah, the NFL came to my house."
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, like did you see that?
Yeah.
The little thumbs up and the like.
But do you see the players union going along with that? Where you were saying if you have, in either September or October, you had the top offensive producers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the players union would go along with testing for that? Do you think there would be any kind of massive pushback?
If they were smart, they would. And here's why I say that.
They would allow it?
Yeah, and here's why. Okay. Because when the next collective bargaining agreement arbitration period comes up, okay, you can use that as a bargaining chip. Like, look, we came to you and we said, for the integrity of the game, we're going to allow you to do A, B, and C during this time period. And if somebody past that time period in the postseason decides that they want to explode, you can test them on the spot. If the players union agreed to that, when the next CBA came around to be negotiated, they would have so much bargaining room. Absolutely so much room to come to the table and say, we've given A, B, C, D, and E. We've given from A to Z on all points in between. Here's where you can come back to us and level the playing field.
Right.
Okay. So because Connie Mack, he used to be a longtime manager, like back in the turn of the century, he managed the Philadelphia A's way back in the day. He was actually part owner. Yeah, I mean, Maria's like it's essentially their job. Why not just do randoms like jobs do? When I get called for a random, I have 4 hours to comply. I send them my location, and then they tell me where to go. Well, okay. So the problem with that, Maria, is when you're talking about professional athletes, okay, the league has the resources in place to go to these different cities. We're not sending them to a third-party lab, okay? Because if the front office was about protecting the integrity of baseball, the way that they are supposed to, governing the rules, the way that they have been decided upon, voted, and ratified, okay, as far as like the rules for competition, player behavior, player expectations, and just the litany of it all, okay? They should have a contracted third-party lab that is ready to go at a moment's notice. Okay. They've got the schedule. MLB's front office has got the schedule. And then you should have this third-party lab with the same schedule. Okay, you're going to send me a couple of texts. We're going to hop on a plane. We're going to fly out to, say, Milwaukee. And we're going to test player A and player B. And then we're going to fly down to Miami. We're going to check, we're going to test Chaz Chisholm Jr. or, we're going to fly out to New York and we're going to see what kind of Frankenstein crap that Aaron Judge has got running through his veins. They know when those random tests are going to be. And you're right. I mean, you should be, you're compelled to comply. I mean, it's just like a regular job, but the advantage that professional athletes have versus everyday people like us is that they've got access to these specialized pharmacies where, you know, these guys have like 2 doctorates in chemical engineering and biochemical engineering and a doctorate in chemistry, basic chemistry 101, right? So they're creating these drugs, or they're creating these compounds that are masking what's actually in them, and the masking, you know, element is what's actually coming up on the test. So it's just like with radar detectors and law enforcement. The radar detector game is usually a step and a half ahead, and law enforcement's trying to play catch up. And then the second the law enforcement gets ahead, guess what? Somebody's going, oh, well, that's old tech already. It's outdated. We've got something that can beat it. So, I mean, it's a constant tug of war between the testers and the users. My biggest problem with PEDs is that these people are not being banned from the game. Okay? You've got guys that are openly being caught cheating, using drugs to enhance their performance, to give them, to give them a competitive edge on the playing field, and they get caught. They get suspended for a little while, but when they come back, they've either been released by their team and they can go out to free agency and they get signed to a more lucrative deal, or they finish out that season, depending on what part of the season they got suspended in, and then they can go to test the free agent market. But the point is, these PED users are coming back and they're getting paid more because the fact that they put out these monster numbers and they're using those to say, hey, I'm going to hang my hat on those numbers. And they're using that as an edge, not only on the field, but in the free agency market, or in arbitration with the team that, or the club that they're with. Now, you get people like Pete Rose, who bet on baseball, openly admitted, hey, you know, I bet on baseball, but I never bet against my team. I never altered my lineup to affect the over or under.
Yeah.
You get people like, I cannot think of like NFL players constantly getting arrested for assault, drunk driving, shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're back.
It took murder for Aaron Hernandez to finally get.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Aaron Hernandez, Hernandez had to murder like what, 2 or 3 people in his house?
Yeah, something like
4
that.
No, it wasn't in his house. It was because I did the episode with that. It was more or less like in like a construction yard.
Yeah, I mean, but still, like 2 or 3 people.
It took one of the most heinous crimes that we have.
Yeah, I mean, it took a mortal sin, like him breaking a commandment to get banned from the game.
Right.
And I'm not even really sure that had he not hung himself, once he got out of prison, if he was still in shape, somebody would have signed him for at least a season.
I mean, look at Michael Vick. He did like 4 years and he came back.
Yeah, Michael Vick, dogfighting, right? Comes back. He spends his time in prison. He pays his debt to society, comes back, and absolutely puts the whole league on notice.
Yep.
You know, but yet Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, they get banned for life because they bet, right? Oh yeah, gambling. Whew. That's so much worse than cheating, you know.
So do you think that instituting something like, and again, I don't think this would pass the players union, but instituting something like an insta ban, if you're caught, you piss hot, you're instantly banned for the rest of the season, regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. Because right now, I think with the
immediately have to go through some type of drug treatment.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know how, like, okay, so like with the NASCAR drivers, like Noah Gragson, he applied for reinstatement. He's actually going to drive the number 10 car for Stewart Haas Racing next year. So he's got a job in the Cup Series, or riding the Cup Series next year, because Eric Amarola is retiring after next week.
Yeah,
but so with with NASCAR, they like you have to go to sensitivity training. And really, okay. I'm gonna. Okay, so Maria just commented. So the rest of the season, maybe it depends on the drug they find. All right. So here's the thing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing.
Well, do you though? I mean, should it be?
And I'm getting to that point.
Zero tolerance kind of thing.
Right. I do. because here's and again, this is another idea that the players union can willfully take from me. The only thing I ask is maybe a couple of,
Give me some season
ticket packages, kind of in return.
Right.
But
You'll get a bag.
be like the judge from Caddyshack. You'll get nothing unlike it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know.
so I used to have the dancing gopher. I'm gonna find one and I'm gonna put it back here. It's gonna be great. Anyway, yeah. So Maria's point is, well, what it depends on the drug that they find. Okay, so to that point, yeah. All right. If it's a drug that we know absolutely, definitively, beyond the shadow of anybody's doubt in their military mind, that this drug enabled you to swing the bat even so much as a mile an hour faster. Okay. If it allowed you to throw the ball even so much as a mile an hour faster. Absolutely. Instaban. Boom. Rest of the season, you're done. Okay. See, here's the thing. All right. So about marijuana. All right. Yeah, I understand it's legal in most places. That's the law. Okay. It's a recreational drug. Now, most, if not every employer out there understands that they reserve the right to not allow their employees to have that in their system.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's still illegal on a federal level.
Yes. Because on a federal level, it is still illegal. Now, alcohol is legal on a federal level, but you can't show up to work drunk.
Right.
Okay. So even if marijuana does finally go, legal on a federal level, employers, to include Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, they can still mandate that their players, that their employees, they're basically contractors, anybody that works for those, that represents those clubs, those organizations, they can be disallowed. Like, you cannot have this in your system. You are not allowed to do this. Okay. Now, the only thing about that, okay, like if you want to partake in it during the off season, fine, but make sure that you are clean before you report for preseason, for spring training, stuff like that. Because when you show up to the team to the team facility, you better be clean.
Yeah.
Because just like in the military, okay, you are
Which they're trying to get the special forces to stop taking antibiotic steroids too now.
Yeah. But and like they really cracked down on a lot of those guys because they were doing stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay. I mean, they're not tweaking out and going all Chris Benoit on their family, so
Right.
it's helping their bodies. Just like in the military, we are held to a higher standard because we represent something besides the name on our shirt, right? We represent
An entire nation.
You represent your unit, your division, and the United States Army. Okay. It's not about the name on your right, it's about the name tape on your left, right?
Yes.
So, well, okay. Or 3 separate types of anabolic steroids and low-grade beaver tranquilizer.
Dodgeball.
Well,
if you are going to be prescribed something, okay, the team doctor or the team approved or organizational approved physician needs to double check the banned substance list to make sure that that's not going to be on there.
yes.
Because if you come up hot and it's not for a quote unquote performance enhancer, but it's still on that banned list, because that banned list has substances on there that are known masking compounds.
Right.
then you have, if it's a straight up, hey, look, you got caught, you had anabolic steroids in your system, or you had androstenedione in your system, whatever that might be, something that gives you an edge, instant ban. But if it's something that's on that masking compound list, then I think that you should be given the opportunity to appeal that decision. That appeal, just like appeals in the playoffs, have to be heard within 48 hours. Okay. You can play until your case is heard. And then when that arbitrator comes in, that independent arbitrator that is hired by the governing organization comes in and makes their decision. That is then chiseled in stone, consider it gospel, write it into the New Testament, attach it after Revelations. I don't care.
Let me
I,
ask
st- I still want the players to like grab a freaking wooden bat and put it through a freaking steel door. That's
Well,
what pisses me off.
you know, what was it? Daniel Tosh, he was like, look, I say we make everybody have to mandatorily do steroids. I want to see somebody perform until their heart explodes.
right?
But, you know,
No.
but at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, and I have gone off about this on several different athletes, mostly LeBron James. Whether you choose to admit it or not, whether you choose to acknowledge this, whether you choose to accept it as being reality, you are somebody's role model. There is a kid out there somewhere who is struggling in his social life, you know, or he's struggling because of his home environment, and he uses the sport that you play as an escape, as a place of refuge, and they are doing everything they can to emulate you. And they see you go out there and use drugs that give you an edge. That is not setting the tone, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for your actions and how those reactions reflect not upon you, but upon the organization that you play for, the organization that governs your ball club, and ultimately the image that you are putting out to the next generation of players and fans. Pure,
Right.
plain and simple.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think, because you've touched on it several times with team doctors prescribing something and ends up being on the hot list.
Mhm.
Do you think it would cut down on some of that? Because whenever that does happen, they always go after the player. They never go after the team doctor for that.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
think
no,
that's something
absolutely.
that needs to change?
Hang that doctor out to dry. You need to make it clear, unequivocally clear to these physicians that if you prescribe something to one of these athletes and that athlete gets popped for something on that banned list, your license immediately should go up for review in front of a medical board. You should have to be
Is
faced
that
with
something
the
that the
prospect.
but
You
is that
should-
something that the league would be able to enforce on there to go after their license, or is that just something?
As far as I know,
This
yeah, they can. The league can go to these ball clubs and be like, look, the players have their union and we have to contend with them.
Mhm.
But the owners, 9 times out of 10, the owners side with Major League Baseball.
Right.
Okay. Because anytime you talk about a collective bargaining agreement negotiation coming up, it's not between Major League Baseball and the players, it's between the owner.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball needs to come up and say, look, we're going to try to nip this in the bud on every level as humanly possible. It might come across as micromanaging, might not. The point is, the end goal is to eliminate PEDs from entering the sport.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, while the steroid era was really fun to watch, you know, and the home run race between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire was really fun, and it took a lot of people's minds off of what was going on after 9/11.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's take it a step further.
yeah, well, and let me finish this point real quick. If you hold those doctors responsible by threatening their livelihood, if you threaten their license to practice medicine, they're really going to give it not a second thought, but they're going to give it like a fourth and fifth thought, going,
Mhm.
I need to make sure that what is in this is not on that list, because I'm not going to put my ass on the line for you.
Right.
And that might be driving a wedge between the doctor and the patient. But at this point, the team hired that physician, or that player went to that physician based on a referral. That doctor. And it might take, and it could be construed as maybe like a slippery slope, but for these outside referrals, for these physicians, it might take some kind of like federal legislation to go, hey, look, if you're going to, well, I mean, you could almost use use the threat of malpractice as probable cause to affect a change on that level.
See, and I do believe too that would extend not just for baseball, that would go for all professional sports. If you start holding the team doctors responsible, and I would say, like I said, I was going to take it even a step further, is having, and again, you're reaching a slippery slope, but if you have some kind of consequences, not just for performance enhancing issues, but if there's, if your player gets popped for anything, you piss hot, the team doctor should, I mean, why are you not doing more to cut down on this? Like, that's your responsibility, is those players' health. It's not physical health. You are responsible for keeping that player healthy and in fine playing trim.
Yeah. I mean, because, as far as like physical fitness, I mean, I know that in the NFL, they've got strength conditioning coaches. I don't think that Major League Baseball, I don't think that the NBA, well, the NBA might.
Maybe not in the same tradition as the NFL.
Hockey, I think, does. But with like Major League Baseball, I mean, I think that, I mean, no, I'm correct. I'm wrong. Major League Baseball, a lot of the clubs do have a strength conditioning coach on staff.
Right.
They've also got personal trainers. They've got physical therapists that are all on staff. So it's ultimately their responsibility to make sure that the players that are employed by their club are doing their strength conditioning, doing their weight training, doing their diet, their dietary regimens within the scope of the law. And I think that the clubs need to maybe step up and, require that, hey, look, if you're going to go to a nutritionist for a diet, or some kind of like calorie intake plan, we need to see that before it's implemented, because we need to make sure that we are protecting our investment, because these guys are getting paid millions of dollars to play a game, to play a kid's game. And they're getting paid to play that game at such a high level. There's millions of dollars on the line every year. Every year. So I think the clubs need to step it up.
Really?
Yeah, I think the clubs need to step it up. It doesn't fall necessarily solely on the shoulders of the doctors. I think that
I think it's more of owners, because the doctor's going to just do what the owner tells him to do.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. There's some good people out there, but
not if Major League Baseball comes down and says, "All right, look, your player got popped for PEDs," then not only are they going to get suspended, but you're going to get a fine too. And those owners, they don't want to shell out any more than they have to.
No,
absolutely they don't.
So it's the problem is that it's falling squarely on the players' shoulders, and I'm not saying they're blameless, and I'm not saying they don't share responsibility.
Yeah,
but there needs to, obviously, that's not working.
Yeah,
so there needs to be some kind of system put in place that's going to start holding.
Right, which is why they started that incremental increase in penalties. So I mean, it was, I think first it was a 45 game ban, then it's a 62 game ban, or no, it's a 45, then it's an 80, and then it's a full 162, and then after your third offense, you're permanently banned.
Yeah, but that still doesn't seem to be much of a deterrent, because it's
really not. I mean, to me, it's not. So you get a guy who gets popped gets popped hot on a test. He's off for 45 days. All right, fine, great. 45 games. I'm sorry. So that could actually extend out to like maybe 50 days if you push it, right? Depending on your team's schedule. He could go bonzo, like he can load up on whatever he wants that first day of suspension, hit the gym for freaking 45 days straight, and basically cycle it out of his system, come back stronger and be like, all right, whatever, what you got?
Yeah. You
They
just
come
get
up on
45
again.
conditioning.
He's got half a season to get jacked,
Yeah.
and if it happens at the, like right at the All-Star break or towards the, the last third of the season, I mean, basically he's got that last third of the season plus the additional time during the winter to get as jacked as humanly possible.
Exactly.
Again, without going all Benoit on people, but and then come back in the spring, lean, shredded, and he's absolutely murdering baseballs. Like this
Right.
ball had a family and you killed it.
Right.
It's. I mean, because like for years, everybody knew that A-Rod was probably juicing, but it didn't. It basically it took a congressional probe, a congressional panel doing an investigation, and somebody tipping off the feds to that doctor down in Florida
Mhm.
for the whole thing to come crashing down on A-Rod.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, he he probably would have played another 2 or 3 years. He probably would have passed Barry Bonds on the home run list.
Yeah.
Now, I'm one of those people that I'm like, I don't really hold Barry Bonds in regard as being the true home run leader. To me, that's still Hank Aaron.
Right.
But I mean, it's one of the reasons why I absolutely loved King Griffey Jr. as a player. I mean, hands down, yeah, I'm a Red Sox fan, but Griffey Jr., the kid, hands down, favorite player of all time because he played the game pure. He did not take any PEDs, and had he not, had he not gotten injured. Oh, that is a micro drill bit. I am so sorry. I thought, yeah, no, it's a micro drill bit. I'm so sorry.
She gets stabbed.
Yeah, she almost got to see. You can see the flutes on it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a little bit that I use for models.
That'll leave an interesting scar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, Mindy.
Quite not the pricking that my wife wished it, wanted to get, but not quite the drilling that she imagined when she woke up this morning.
But it probably feels familiar. It's about right.
No, she didn't marry David.
I feel a sausage, and I don't like that.
Look, just because it's a little smoky doesn't. I mean, it still qualifies as a sausage, but I mean,
it's a little smoky. Sometimes you don't need a whole big meal. You just want a little snack.
I'll agree with that. I'm just
David looks at a woman and he's like, "I will give you 6 inches, and it'll take me 6 months to give it to you."
I'm going to be laying inches of pipe.
Like,
fucking.
You can call me Luigi. I'm still a plumber, but nobody uses me.
It's not so much a pipe as it is a tube.
It's like those pipe cleaners you get at the arts and crafts section at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, Like you saw Toy Story, right? Yeah. It was Sporky's arms.
Screw you.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, and I brought him back.
I clicked it at the same time as you put.
I was like, I still have admin.
Oh my God.
Admin privileges, so I was trying to bring him back. He's like, "Look, you."
Oh man.
Oh, that was good.
pipe cleaner. Maria is like pipe cleaner dead. All right. So before we get into the NFL, we're already here an hour. You guys want to bring Colin in? Because we have Colin this week.
Oh, we
Yeah,
do.
okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to go on the record too. Like, having said all of that we just did, I'm not against Garcia being tested.
Yeah. I mean, and that to me, that's the important thing. It's like
it comes down to the integrity. The integrity of the game is paramount above all else.
I told everybody, I was like, I showed him the drill bit, and I was like, it's not quite the drilling that she expected to get when she woke up this morning. See, I got the eye roll. I got the mother of all eye rolls just now. Yes, you did. You went. Like, how's that frontal lobe look? Huh? Oh, okay. So my wife and her sister watched their annual viewing of Hocus Pocus, and I'm sure that Hocus Pocus 2 is on the horizon. Probably tomorrow night. Yes, because they visited Salem and they're like, we've been there. Yeah. Oh, come on, Colin. Really? Dude, come on. He better not be like, it's a situation where he's all like, I was in the shower. Oh, there he read it.
There we go.
Oh, okay. All right. So hold on. Let me get him in here real quick.
Ooh, we get the new hotness intro and outro.
Yeah, we get the new hotness, this week.
Maria's going ham-bone in the chat.
She is. She's like, she's like, I'm the only person in here.
Yeah.
Attica.
Amaka.
I am Spartacus. Come on.
I am Spartacus.
She's excited for the joke.
Oh yeah, here for her. She's ready for the jokes.
It is. It's been a while since we've had him on. It's
no, you can keep going.
Stop.
What is up, my guy?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angry faithful of all ages, after a 2-week hiatus, we have Colin in studio.
Woo! Yay! Woo!
Yay.
There we go.
There you go.
For the last 2 weeks, Colin, we killed the show with trying to keep the humor going.
I'm sorry. I've just been busy.
I mean, the joke like last week, I kept trying to like deadpan it, and yeah, some of them were kind of hits. The other ones, just most of them, dude, it was bad.
It's not the same. It's
It's
not
just not the same. See,
Yeah.
you all ready to go? You all ready to go? Oh, before I do that, all right. So we're gonna nerd out just for another second. I know we ate up like the first 30 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
So I showed you. Check it out, dude. It's in the office now. What's up?
That is so amazing.
I got every trophy for Spider-Man. So
Oh, really?
How
You
is
did
it?
the
Is it
game
good?
already?
It was so quick. Wasn't it quick?
Hey,
It
did you find Craven's hideout in the off limits area?
It wasn't
no,
Craven's hideout. It was me.
Oh well, okay. Well, there's a hidden room.
yeah,
the
there
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I got every trophy. And
Okay.
Yeah, I did
I
that
don't
for
want
like
to go
2 days.
too far out on a limb, but Colin is going to be personally responsible for giving us a movie review next week.
oh yeah, for the FNAF movie.
He's going to go see the FNAF movie this weekend.
FNAF.
I'm gonna
I
try
don't
to
know
take
if-
my
I
daughter.
don't know if Jake,
Ready?
I don't know
Oh,
if Jake
okay.
wants to watch it at home because it's on Peacock or not.
I don't know,
I
but
don't think it's on Peacock yet.
yeah, one way or the other, I think you're going to go see it this weekend. Don't hold me to that. I'm pretty sure that that's the plan, though. But without further ado, you ready for your spot there, guy?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, everybody.
Rising from the smoke and haze of desolation comes a Ronin, bent on wrongdoing that which has been set right. Here for your ears and eyes to feast upon. It is my genetic code. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, it is time for joke time with Colin.
God, I love
Or,
it. All right, we need Chris to compose himself before he actually dies.
That bronchitis is still kicking my butt. Continue.
how do you ground a disabled person? You take away their wheels.
Saw that coming.
Yeah.
Saw that coming.
So sad.
Why can't Michael Jackson go 500 miles or 500 feet within a school zone? Because he's dead.
I'm so glad that it went that direction. I was like, oh no.
Among other reasons.
The CPS is going to knock on my door. Be like, we need to have a talk. Like, what? What did I do?
I mean, come on. Pedophile's probably the safest driver going through school zone.
They're
Yeah.
not gonna go fast.
Didn't I tell that joke?
Yeah,
Yes,
you did. It's so funny.
What did the cannibal do after he dumped his girlfriend? He wiped.
That-
God.
oh God.
I'm sorry. I was trying to hold it together.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
That one got me. Oh, okay. Oh, you got any others?
No.
Okay, so Maria said what? Colin, you're gonna have to repeat that third joke.
What did the cannibal do after he dumped his girlfriend? He wiped.
I'm
Let
waiting,
us-
waiting to see it. Yeah, like
Give her a moment.
Yeah. Gotta type.
Got to filter through.
Yeah.
let's have a Channing Tatum moment. Oh shit. Don't do it, David. No. Oh anyway. Okay.
There she goes. In topical news, I hear that Matthew Perry is really drowning in some troubles right now.
Too soon. I feel.
No.
He,
He's done.
Too soon. Ever.
Apparently, it just came out that he had a heart attack.
yeah,
Yeah.
I said he had
Yeah,
cardiac
yeah.
arrest.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say this, and I am going to retain my man card, but you know, I like watching Friends. Okay, so yeah, see, yeah, even his sister agrees, dude. Too soon.
Never
Yeah.
too soon.
I like watching Friends as well. It's funny.
See, David, this is why I changed the subject in our text thread the other, or was it last night or night before last? When I was like in a completely unrelated manner. I'm like sitting there going, I'm like, dude, the corner hasn't even cracked his chest open yet. Like,
Mhm.
come on, bro. I mean,
But
we're
watch
barely past the statute of limitations when we can say, you know, Whitney Houston is celebrating several years sober and dry.
This is true. I mean, she's gotten that for. But just remember, it was
That's
never crack. It was cocaine. She said it during an interview. It was never crack. She's not poor.
Oh,
And I mean,
oh no.
Philip Seymour
Max-
Hoffman is also celebrating a lot of years of sobriety now.
Max Scherzer has left the series with back tightness. He is out.
Of course. Mad Max, everybody. Yeah, but it's runners on first and second with 2 outs, top of the sixth, still 3-0 Texas. But yeah.
I was talking to Papa, and he said Jeremy got pretty upset when the Rangers lost.
Yeah.
It's still early.
Still
very early.
It's okay. So my brother, I love him to death, but he can be a little much sometimes. I'm like, dude, come on. That's why the series is 7 games long.
Exactly. Still a
I
lot
mean,
of baseball yet to play.
It's not like we keep bringing up Nelson Cruz or anything like that. I'm
Right.
just kind of throwing that out there.
Yep.
Like,
It ain't over till it's over.
and to be fair, I mean, it's like whenever people yell like, well, what about Bill Buckner? I'm like, well, what about him? The Red Sox didn't show up for game 7. They deserve to lose that series against the Mets. The Rangers deserve to lose that series after game 6 in 2011 because they failed to show up and play against the Cardinals. So it's whatever. You feel like you're being ganged up on now? Are you on the black leather couch?
Not yet, but I feel like it's heading that way.
Well, at least we did an interview and we have you curled around butt naked first.
We're not going through maps here. I'm gonna have some old guy staring at my butthole while I duck walk.
I told you guys how I got out of that, right?
You got out of it?
Yeah. Okay.
I never did it.
But the prostate check, right? So
Never did that one either.
No, you have to get the prostate check in order to get the airborne physical, right? You have to
okay.
Right. So I get told go stand in this room, and well, yes, it's the couch, Maria. Would you rather I say the bus?
I love how she knows exactly which couch you're talking about too.
I know, right?
Every person knows about that damn couch.
And not everybody knows about the bus because it's
That's
dropped
true.
off in popularity.
Yeah, the bus different. Yeah.
But anyway, digress. I get told go stand in this room, and I'm 16 at this point, right? Because I'm doing the delayed entry, and I'm like, oh, I need the airborne physical, and he's like, all right, well, drop your pants, turn around, and put your hands on the table. And I was like, oh crap, okay. So I hear the glove go snap, right? And I hear he's on a stool, so he's kind of wheeling over to me, and he's like. He goes, I need you to spread your cheeks. And I'm like, oh boy, here we come. So I assume a position, and then my stomach starts to gurgle.
Oh no. Defense mechanism.
And he goes, you're gonna feel some pressure. And as soon as he said that, I cracked one off. The old man who was probably he was probably like a 4th-year resident when Jesus was a private. Coughs. I hear him push back away from me. He tells me, "Pull my pants up. I'm done." And I turned around. I didn't even have my pants up yet. I turned around, looked over my shoulder, and I was like, "Do I get the airborne stamp?" And he picks the stamp up off the table and stamps my paperwork airborne. And I'm like, yeah. I walked out of that office skipping, right? Like, doo. And my recruiter looks at me. He's like, what the hell? I was like, come here, I got to tell you. So I told him, and he was like, that's the funniest shit I ever heard in my life.
Get the chemical warfare badge with it as well.
It's not a wartime the first time.
At least you're a virgin in some ways.
Yeah, it's like what did Rodney Carrington say? He's like, once you've had a finger in your butt, somebody asks you, "Have you ever been with a man?" You can't say no.
He's like,
I feel like they had a television camera in there and they were watching me in the waiting room. Look, kids, there he is. Walking out to your car, your shirt untucked, your hair's all disheveled, your underwear in your pocket. You look like a used up hooker. Yeah, Terry, you start
They're
crying. You start talking to yourself. You liked it, didn't you? No, I didn't. Shut up. Who's that? Oh. Oh,
Words. That's
All
a
right, football.
words.
yeah.
She's
All right,
got lots
so-
of words.
Do you want to stick around for the football for the rest of the show, or do you have to go, Colin?
I can stay.
All right, cool, killer. All right, so we're gonna make the transition from
Picks.
baseball to football.
Oh, I saw one of our games that just broke my heart.
Dude.
I could not believe.
Yeah, you know what?
You
I
know
have a
exactly
theory.
what
I have
I'm
a theory.
talking about too.
Yeah, I have a theory. Why,
Niners.
no, shh, no. I have a theory why that game turned out the way it did. Taylor Swift was not in attendance
That's what it was.
Oh,
because the games where she's not there versus the games where she's in attendance, the statistics are like 2017 home game Astros lopsided.
No way.
Bro. Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
Are we gonna call that the Swifty effect? Physicists are gonna start studying that now.
We're gonna
that's what
call
they're
it the Taylor
calling it.
version.
Grants are going out right now as we speak to
Right.
study this.
Okay. All right. So,
Oh.
all right. Initially, ooh,
Okay.
ooh,
That's
the Lions are paying us some good beef right there. It's halftime. 17
Yeah.
to 6 for the Raiders. All right. So
Let's not jinx it now. Let's not jinx
we're
it.
not jinxing it. We started off on a really great note.
We did.
We had the Bills picked over the Bucks.
Yes, we did.
Got that one right. 18-24.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the Panthers over the Texans. Now, if you remember right, Chris, you were like asking me, are you kind of wanting to go with the Texans? I almost did.
Right.
Almost. And I'm watching that game and I'm like, these little bastards they're gonna make me eat my
Oh,
words.
I would have been so angry.
I'm glad
And
that we slapped him and put him back into his place.
Dude, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why? Why?
This is, I don't want to do this anymore.
Like, I'm taking my paws. Screw you
Talking
guys.
about rugby now. Changing the whole format. Fuck this.
Right.
Learn cricket, guys.
We're going with the reverse psychology pick format.
I mean, technically, that's where we're at.
Almost. Now
We're
we
halfway
picked the
there.
Cowboys to beat the Rams.
We did, and they did it
Oh, they did.
in solid fashion.
Oh, yeah. On a day that DeMarcus Ware was inducted into the Cowboy Ring of Honor.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Good day.
And we continued the streak. We said the Vikings over the Packers. Now, when are we going to learn that artificial turf is not a good thing? Kirk Cousins left the game with a torn Achilles tendon,
Mhm.
and it was verified. The team doctor, the head coach and the team doctor during the post-game press conference said, look, the MRI at this point is just a formality. We know what this is.
Right.
Because you saw it happen.
You
I mean,
can
when they
see
played it in
damage.
slow-mo, you saw the ripple on his calf.
Yeah.
Dude's done.
Yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah. Fun fact. Colt McCoy was invited to the Minnesota facility for a workout
Really?
because he's got history with the offensive coordinator or with either the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator.
Interesting.
So we will see what the Vikings do. They got a couple of different options there. I mean, they've got a backup and they've got the third stringer. They've got the guy from the practice squad, but I really don't see them sticking internally. I see them signing somebody out of work. I mean, next thing you know, Robert Griffin III is going to be playing for the freaking Vikings. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm just like, you're going to give Colt McCoy a job. Great. It's good to see a guy from Graham finally, land on his feet again. Great, whatever. Just get it figured out because you got some games coming up on the schedule that the Vikings absolutely need to win. Pure plain and simple. And then we picked the Saints over the Colts, or as David affectionately refers to them as the Krilts. The Saints won that game too, 38-27. Moving on, we had the Dolphins over the Pats. That happened too. Then we picked the Jets over the New York Football Giants. It took overtime. And even the radio announcers for the Jets were like, we don't know how, but it happened. The Jets beat the Giants, or the Jets beat the Giants. Then we had the Jags over the Steelers. That one happened too. Then we run into our first speed bump. What the hell, Tennessee? You're going to come out with the throwback uniforms. You're going to even repaint the field to say Oilers in the end zones. You've got the best looking uniforms in the NFL. And you're going to go out and you're going to make us, you're going to prove us wrong. You're going to give us you're going to win against us. I mean, what the hell? Come on.
Just come on.
Yeah. You're better
Just
than that.
because you look hot shit doesn't mean you're gonna be hot shit.
Yeah. And see, everybody around here is like, well, the Oilers was a Houston name. Well, when Bud Adams took the team to Tennessee, he paid the city of Houston, he worked out some kind of a deal where he could keep the team history and keep the team colors, right? Keep the uniforms. There's a big movement down here in Houston where, the Texans would love to have that as a throwback uniform option. I'm kind of in the camp of like, well, you're a completely different team because now, the Texans were an expansion team. Completely different franchise. It's got nothing to do with the history of the Texans organization.
Right.
But then JJ Watt comes in and he sounds off, right? He's like, look, you want to settle this debate once for all? Play the Titans for the uniforms.
Yeah. That would be about the only way.
Yeah, it'd be the only way. It basically it'd be Bud Adams entering into a bet, but it's like monetary exchange of hands. It's not like Mattress Mac is going to go out there and bet on the Texans to win it all.
Right. He knows better.
Right. And then we had Congress over the Eagles, i.e., we had the Commanders pick the Eagles, or pick to beat the Eagles, and that was not an intellectual pick. That was not a cerebral pick. The first half looked great.
I was a little worried there for that first half. They were.
No, we had it picked for the Commanders to win, for the Redskins to win. We had them picked.
Look, just because I picked the Eagles doesn't mean I want them to win.
Well, we didn't pick the Eagles. None of us did.
No, I know, but I don't like the Eagles.
I don't either. I don't either. But we're going to have to pick against the Eagles
eventually
next week because the Cowboys play the Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay. It's probably. You know what? I'm just going to put a pin in that thought. So the Eagles gave us our second speed bump. So yeah. And then we had the Browns over the Seahawks. David took the Seahawks. Now, before David starts getting that smug look on his face and he leans back in his chair and, kind of puts his arms back behind his head and, starts trying to remember whether or not he starts trying to remember whether or not he had that Marilyn Manson surgery where he had the spare ribs taken out.
I'm just saying right now that my back kind of hurts from carrying you motherfuckers.
I'm sorry. What was carrying? How many times have you been right on your separate?
David, the only time that you carry Chris and I is when you're taking our selfies to the bathroom with you before you rub one out.
This is very true.
I'm not going to deny that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So just,
That's
blow your roll, kuna your tatas, de-stress your breasts, calm your tits. Okay.
I'm so glad I got that one that y'all
that's
did together and everything.
that was the one where David goes, I'm going to strike out on my own. Now, to be fair,
To be fair.
That was a good game.
The Seahawk uniforms, the throwbacks, dude, my favorite. Like
They did look sharp.
they were. I mean, they looked a lot better than that garbage that they freaking roll out every couple of weeks. The freaking neon yellow.
Yeah, so
It's
bad,
like
so
it's like
bad.
it's like the head office. It's like the owners go,
We want
what?
the film to
It's
look
like
like
they entered. It's like they entered into a partnership with Best Buy to sell TVs because it's like, what can we do to burn every pixel on every television set in the nation?
they must get commission on each sale or something.
I'm telling you, dude. Like, you know, it's like that little survey, you know, like Best Buy gives you like, why are you in here today to get a TV? Like, yeah, I'm a TV burnout. Oh yeah, what were you
Watch
watching?
the
Damn
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Okay, ding. You know,
We like the secretary from Ghostbusters. We got one.
yeah. I know that skit, I know that bit, but dude, I keep seeing the Supernatural spoof.
Yeah, so Misha Collins.
All right, so in an attempt to get back on the winning side of things, it's going to be short-lived, so spoiler. We picked the Ravens to beat the Cardinals. That happened. Then we moved on. We're the Swifties to beat the Donkeys. Taylor Swift does not. She does not need to stay her ass at home. She needs to be on the team plane. She needs to travel with the team.
Yeah,
Taylor,
that's ridiculous.
listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay. If you're going to sing Taylor's version, you need to do it on the road too.
Mhm.
Okay. Because your boy and his boys have better stats when you are in the luxury suite, hemming it up with Patrick's wife and his jackass brother.
Which normally I wouldn't care, but when you're fucking up our picks, then we got something to talk about. Don't fuck up my picks, Taylor Swift.
Jeez. Now, in a move of,
I'm not
complete
disappointed. I am just mad.
in a move of complete class, the Donkeys played. Would they play? They played a Taylor Swift song after the game.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Shake It Up or Shake It Loose or
Shake
something.
Shake it off.
Shake It Off. Yeah, Shake It Off. That's what it was. They played Shake It Off as the players were leaving the field. I'm like, wow. Okay.
That was. I'll give them credit for that. That was hilarious. They are
Now, this next pick is going to cause me to change my mind about the way I pick the Bengals. And conversely,
I was actually
the Niners.
I was actually wanting to take.
You're not playing football, son. We know that you cleared the concussion protocol, but Jesus Christ, you're coming in and you just shit the bed. I'm telling you. You put the boots to it, and you just, holy hell! You try to come in there. You're like a New England teenager coming in from a beer party. Like you're drunk, you're hammered. Your mom's standing there with her see-through robe because it's been through the washer so many times. She's like, "Come here, you little bastard!" You're like, "Ma, fucking ma." Yeah, come on, Brock. You're better than that.
I wasn't over there, Ma.
Like,
I know you were over there.
I wasn't drinking, Ma. Here's what happened. Here's what
Right now, I
happened.
can hear you. I can smell it on you right now. Ma, I swear I wasn't doing it, Ma.
Hey, Ma, I swear I wasn't drinking. The people that were drinking next to me, and they poured it on me, and like 15 of them fell in my mouth.
What do you want me to do, Ma? I can't just leave. It's rude. I can't do that.
If you've never listened to the comedian Bob Marley,
Yes.
that guy is fucking hilarious. He's like, oh my God. He's like, he's talking about it. My dad's balls got stung by a bumblebee, right? His mom is like, would you look at your father's balls? Ma, I said, look at your father's balls.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
Oh, okay. Then we had the Chargers over the team from Chicago.
Which, you know,
I mean, you know,
yeah.
somebody came to the game
we have something.
cosplaying, dressed up as Mike Ditka. I mean, he had the sweater vest and everything. You know, he wasn't quite as heavy set as what's his name? The guy that played Norm from Cheers. But you know, excuse me, I'm trying very hard to get rid of the New England accent because once you start that, dude,
It sticks.
it's fucking wicked pisser. That's what it is right there.
It's hard to get rid of.
It's so hard to get rid of.
Glad.
I mean, you walk out and everybody looks at you and you're like, what the fuck? You know, like you're talking wicked weird. I mean, what's going on there, pa? Like, I don't know. Like, you want to speak like a New Englander, you drop your R's. That's what you do. You drop your R's. You say your R's just
goes
like that.
way back to the back of
not
your throat.
R. It's R's.
It's not all the way gone, but it's way in the back of your throat. Like it's not.
Way in the back.
Like, it's just a.
It's like a Scottish accent, you know, where it's more from the back of the throat, you know, like
right.
oh,
It's like a Scottish accent, but you're not rolling. You're not rolling your tongue.
you can what I'm, you know what I mean right there. That's what it's all
Right.
about, you know. But anyway, oh, let's scroll back to the top of the page and see what the update. Ooh, that's too close.
Ooh.
Oh, that's too
Oh,
close.
that's not
Oh,
good.
we need you to do what you do. Don't
right.
let these guys don't let these guys beat
Remember,
you.
you're the Lions. You are Detroit.
So PJ said drop the R and add the H. Look,
It's
when I went to Boston a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, to propose to my now wife, I was there for all of about 4 hours. All of about 4 hours.
that's all it takes.
And the fucking doorman at a hotel, he was asking me where I was from. Well, I told him I was from Texas. He looked at me like I was a fucking liar. That's what it was.
Southie.
He was like, "Hey, no way." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I'm like a chameleon, you know. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? You know. You know. I mean, it was already bad because I'm picking it up from just random conversations. But then when we left Wahlburgers and that dude was like, "Yeah, those doors, them doors are wicked heavy." You know, dude, it fucking. I was like that for the rest of the trip.
Right? How could you not?
It was fucking atrocious, is what it was. I mean,
That's awesome.
I can't say what I want to say.
It's never stopped you before.
oh,
Yeah,
please,
it's
by
not
all
this-
means, David. Let loose with the verbal diarrhea that you're so fucking well known for.
I'm just wondering because, you know, during that, you know, trip and everything, you made Whoopi. You know, I'll just do it that way. You made Whoopi. Did you do the voice when you're making Whoopi?
What do you mean, dude?
Did
Like,
you,
for
did you
starters,
orgasm in a Boston?
for starters,
Boston accent.
read the fucking room there, bud. I got 2 of my kids in attendance.
That
So
means
I'm not going to sit there and talk about whatever
that's
coitus or
def-
sexual congress that I may or may not have
that's
had.
definitely
You know, I mean, besides that, on top of all of that, you know, premarital sex is kind of a sin.
absolutely 100%. That's a yes. It's 100. Absolutely. That's
Oh,
I can't even even do that, man. Like, you know, you can't take yourself seriously at all, right? Imagine this, right? You got some dude sitting there just putting the boots to her from behind. And he's like, I'm giving it to you wicked hard. You like that, right? You're gonna come for daddy, right? It doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't work. It like you can't do it. I mean, that's why a lot of I imagine in my head a lot of men from New England they have sex like Peter Griffin.
That's like Christopher Walken goes to Boston.
Well, it's 'cause Christopher Walken is from Boston. I mean, anytime that I'm in a bad mood or I'm feeling down in the funk, I just imagine Christopher Walken singing American Pie. You know, I drove my Chevy down to the levee, and wouldn't you know it, that bastard was dry. Oh my! Not only were they drinking whiskey, wouldn't you know it, they were drinking rye too. You know. But can you imagine? Can you imagine Christopher Walken trying to dirty talk somebody?
Dude.
I mean, I came here, well, for two things: to chew bubble gum and to put the boots to you. And as you know it, lucky you, I'm all out of bubble gum, so you know what to do. Right?
Dude, I'd love to hear him like read Shakespeare. How awesome would it be to get just have him reading Hamlet?
All right, so Colin can attest to this because when he and his brother like were little, there was a series of books out there. It's like if you give a mouse a cookie, give a moose a muffin, that kind of thing, right?
Right. I remember those.
I would read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie in the voice of Christopher Walken,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like, if you give a mouse a cookie,
Dude,
when you know it, that ungrateful little bastard, he's going to ask you for a glass of milk.
see, you got to get the shoulders into it. That's the whole key to it.
He's like, if you give that mouse a glass of milk, he's going to want to look in the mirror. You vain little thing, you. But why? Well, when you know it, because he wants to see if he's got a milk mustache. And then Reagan would always be like, read that again, do it again. And I'm like, a milk mustache.
Mustache.
Oh my. It's Pandalarium. Just letting this mouse come into your house and just do whatever it wants. And you're clothing it. And you're giving it a bed, making cookies. Chaos. It's anarchy. If you only knew what I had to do to get this watch to you.
Soldering iron.
Your father had a god awful case. Diarrhea. So naturally, I told him I would hide it. I had this hunk of metal in my ass for 3 years.
Oh man.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to find another copy of Give a Mouse a Cookie just so I can do an on-air reading in the voice of Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, do we want to start with the NFL or we want to go with the undefeated champs of the Armed Forces Bowl going against Army next week?
Dude, we still gotta do our picks.
Hey,
We've been talking about the NFL.
David, we're not talking about the Commander-in-Chief trophy. You're over here talking about the CIC. I mean, look at you. You're jumping ahead, getting ahead of yourself.
Practice.
Hey,
Talking about practice.
you're talking
Not a
about
game, practice.
any given day. I mean, the top of the mountain can come tumbling down. Next thing you know, you got a boulder in your living room. What are you going to do? You got no jackhammer. Shut up. Just let me do my job. If I wanted any of your lip, well, I'd tell you what I'd do. I'd pull it off my zipper. Okay. All right. All right. So next week we've got the Titans at the Steelers on Thursday night. Here's why I'm going to pick the Steelers, because Will Levi showed up. He started that game this Sunday. He threw at 3 absolute dimes to DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the dude was unfazed. I'm taking the Titans over the Steelers on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
David got real quiet for a second. It's like, are you going to come back after, getting yelled at?
Are you still there? Are you with us?
Christopher Walken impression.
Okay. Snap him out of it real quick.
I can see Skeletor's face.
David, that wasn't really Christopher Walken in the room here.
I thought it was. No, I'm looking at why I have like a red dot on my Twitter X thing, and I was checking out Twitter to see if there is something wrong with it. So
cool
maybe,
story, bro.
Just
Yeah,
maybe.
cool.
I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Should stop. I don't know. Following some of the accounts that you follow. Just kind of putting that out there.
Following some problematic things.
When she said,
start looking at your hard drive.
She's a hot MILF, and she lives like 10 miles from you. It's a dude.
It's definitely probably lives in the area too.
What was it?
Looks like
that Beavis and Butthead episode where they called the phone sex line, and it was like some fat dude, and he goes, "Hold on," and he sticks the phone under his leg, and he's sitting there eating a TV dinner.
Looks like Trailer Park Tammy.
How dare you assume that her name is Tammy? What if it's Susan? Or if he's got class.
George or John.
Vladimir. We don't want to assume pronouns. I would see that.
You're right. It is 2023.
Like,
I don't want to do
George. Maybe.
George.
Maybe. I'm just throwing this out there. Quanisha.
One never knows.
Quanisha, she's the whitest girl I've ever seen. She makes snow look like night. It's terrible. Next, we've got the Swifties at home against the Dolphins. Taylor, I need you to call in. I need you to respond. Tell me if you're going to be at the game or not, because we need to know so we can pick properly.
I kind of want to go Dolphins on this one, even if she does show up. I think Dolphins are going to carry the day. Chiefs have been too inconsistent.
Yep. So I'm gonna Dolphins over the Swifties. That's their new nickname for the rest of the season.
Swifties. Yep.
The Swifties.
They are
And if she comes out with a new album,
we'll go with that.
the Kelsey Saga or something like that. I don't know. What's a word that rhymes with Kelsey?
Chelsea.
That's gonna be that's gonna be her next single is Chelsea. Or she's gonna take a page out of the Shoresy playbook. Schmelzy. It's like Travis probably thought that he had it made because he's like, my last name doesn't rhyme with anything. Oh,
yeah, we'll find a way.
Do we want to take the Vikings or the Falcons, or how do we want to pick that game?
Where are they playing that?
They're playing in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Because the backup that came in, I mean, he was pretty fire. I mean,
Falcons.
Listen, my initial guidance was
Vikings.
My initial gut instinct is Vikings.
Do we just want to split the pick this week? David's taking the Falcons apparently because he always
gotta
bets on
be
black.
He always takes the black. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh. Game of Thrones. That's what we're talking about. You dirty. I know what Maria's thinking. Maria said to stop posting nudes, David.
Bob's in the gene.
You're a little bit late for that one. That was like a couple minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it wasn't addressed. So
Yeah.
this is a public admonishment for you to stop sending nudes.
You know, I'll do what I want.
Dude, certain picks are not welcome when they're unsolicited.
That is true.
What? I thought it was that little pegging game from Cracker Barrel. I didn't know it was that kind of other pegging game.
You do enjoy a good pegging game. I will give you that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now I figured it out and everything.
Yes.
Are we going to take the Ravens over the Seahawks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we take the Browns over the Cardinals.
Yes.
Because I mean, dude, the Cleveland defense has been kind of showing up the last couple of weeks.
Surprisingly.
I don't know if they. I mean, it's kind of like a almost there type deal.
They had a pick six last week. They almost had one this week. I'm like, maybe something's in the water up there. They found a hidden cove in the river that hadn't been contaminated yet. And
found that one puddle that's not,
or maybe it was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right there in Cleveland, and Keith Richards visited, decided that he needed to take a piss. He pissed in the river and it went straight into the Browns training room. I'm going to take the Rams over the Packers because the Packers are just I'm selling the Packers, man.
I don't want to say they're trash, but they are garbage adjacent. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, garbage adjacent.
Bucks over the Texans.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Have you seen the way that the Bucks have been playing lately?
Have you seen the way the Texans play all the time?
Kind of played a little inspired last week or yesterday.
Yeah. To me, it was like, it was just that twitch of the nervous system after they're dead.
Okay. So rigor mortis hadn't completely set in yet. All
Not
right.
quite. Not all the way.
Redskins or the Patriots?
I'm going to go Redskins.
Yeah. Watch, the Pats are going to come back because Mac Jones remembered that he knew how to play football.
I swear to God.
And this one's a no-brainer.
I'm just going to give up at this point if they do. I'm just
We're going to take the Saints over
Yes.
Dub Bears.
Yes, we are. Not even Ditka can say this team.
I could at the very least capitalize that. There we go. Okay. Next we've got the Krilts at the Panthers.
Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The New York Football Giants at Las Vegas.
Right.
Giants? Wow. I don't know, man.
No?
Aroldis Garcia left tonight's game in the 8th inning. What is the score?
It is
3-0 still, bottom of the 8th. All right. Travis Jankowski replaces him. They lost a lot of speed in the outfield when that happened because Jankowski is not fleet of foot, man.
Nope.
Um,
I could come back to haunt him.
Raiders or the Giants, man. I don't know. That's a coin flip.
Yeah, I can go with the Giants. The Raiders haven't been really doing all that great all this year.
All right.
Doing all right. Both teams are doing all right. I mean, it's one of those things is Giants are on the top. We'll just go with that.
Nope. Not
This is-
gonna touch it. Not gonna touch it.
well,
Cowboys
yeah,
over the Eagles, right?
Yeah, of course.
mm,
We already know, but it's Cowboys over the Eagles. This is our obligatory emotional pick.
Yes, it is our very emotional pick. It is our we don't care as long as it's anybody but Philadelphia pick.
That's a good way of putting it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Love Jason Kelsey. Love him. Great player. Good guy.
I just hate the Eagles.
Hate the Eagles.
That's what it comes down to.
And then the Sunday night game is the Bills at the Bengals. Both teams are feeling a kind of a resurgence,
yeah.
That's a
Dude.
tough one to pick.
but they're playing in Cincinnati.
I like the Bengals. I mean, I'm favoring Bengals. I like Bengals, but
Just because the Bengals played actual football this week doesn't.
no, it's not that. It's just because I like the team this year. I actually do like the Bengals as a team, but going with
See, the
Bills,
thing is, though,
Bills.
I keep picking the Bengals and they keep letting me down. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm with this one on this one. I mean, I'll just say I want the Bengals to win. I don't. It's like
So do you want
Cowboys.
it on the record, or you don't want you want it like a
Yeah. Go put it on a record.
Okay.
But I like the Bills too. I mean, Bills are has a good team too. It's just favoritism on this one. That's all it is. I like Bengals more. I like the Bills.
So that's your emotional pick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So to recap for next week, we've got the Titans over the Steelers, Dolphins over the Swifties, Vikings over the Falcons. David's taking the Birds on that one. Ravens over the Seahawks, Browns over the Cards, Rams over Packers, Bucks coming into town and beating up on the Texans. If you can consider beating a dead body fair. Redskins over the Patriots, Saints over Dub Bears, Panthers over the Colts, the New York Football Giants over the Raiders, Cowboys over the Eagles because, well, fuck Philadelphia. Bills over the Bengals. David's sticking with the Tigers or the striped cats, and that is the picks for next week. David, you have got. No, that's not what I wanted. Here we
Arizona
go.
scored. It is now 3-1, bottom of the 8th.
Here's my take on the World Series this year. For the teams that are going to win those games, it's going to probably your game one showed it. You need more than 2 runs of insurance. Actually, I think at this point you need probably a 4-run buffer
At least.
So I don't know. It kind of depends on how Bruce Bochy is managing the bullpen.
Which this postseason he's actually been doing. He's
He's
well.
in games that have gotten away from them. He has managed to kind of put their B team from the bullpen out there, and he saved his studs for the close games. Hopefully, he's doing it this way, and who knows? It might be some of that home cooking that the Diamondbacks are feasting on right now to get them where they need to go. But we're coming up on 2-hour marks. We're going to run through this real quick. It was the final elimination race for the NASCAR season. They were at Martinsville this week. This is where the championship 4 are going to get decided. We already know that Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson punched their tickets early on to advance to the championship race in Phoenix next week. This week it was Ryan Blaney's turn. He had a great car. It was good and balanced. Martinsville did typical Martinsville things. It just beat the crap out of the tires. Tire wear was key for a majority of the day. William Byron got in on points. He rounded out the 4th position. He actually finished the race. I think it was in 17th or 18th position. Here's the thing about William Byron. They had a minimum position that he could finish in and still qualify. Denny Hamlin, who started the day like 5 points under the cut line. Actually, it was 15 points under the cut line. Denny Hamlin had to go out and win this race to get in. There was nothing that he could do point-wise to help himself. Okay. He won the first stage, got the 10 bonus points. Okay. He could have won the second stage, and he could have been on the plus side. It would have been William Byron looking in, or outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the points shook out is that as long as Ryan Blaney was in front of Denny Hamlin had to pass him and win. Denny Hamlin, you could start seeing his driving style start to get more aggressive and a lot more reckless, putting the bumper on people, trying to move them up the track, get them out of the way. He was starting to become a little bit aggressive, overly aggressive with it. I watched that race yesterday, and I'm like, man, because I wanted William Byron to get in. It's his first championship 4 appearance. I love seeing Denny Hamlin make excuses for things. To his credit, he didn't really hang it on anybody except himself and his team. Last week, he had to retire from the race, and actually got a DNF last week because they had a mechanical failure. So him and Martin Truex Jr. exited the race early last week, and now he just has to sit back and try to win the race, but he's not going to be in the contention to win the points championship. So it's the youngest championship 4 in Cup history, according to this. The oldest driver is not the defending. It is a previous champion in the form of Kyle Larson, who is 31 years old. Everybody else is in their 20s.
Oh, wow.
William Byron is the youngest. He is 24 years old.
Mm.
So this is just a sign of the times. I mean, we're looking at the current generation of drivers is going to be here for a long, long time.
Yep.
And I'm actually, as long as NASCAR doesn't screw with the packages, the aero packages on the cars, and try to force everybody to
Go electric.
Yeah, no, it's not. You'll never see NASCAR go electric, ever,
No.
ever. Just because it's untenable.
No.
I mean,
yeah.
it really is, because at best, you're going to have, 350 miles range on a single battery charge. And that's at driving the speed limit.
Okay. Yeah.
So you got these cars that are going well over 150, 180, plus miles an hour, week in and week out. You might be lucky to get 200 miles out of a battery. Then what are you going to do? You're going to park the whole field for an intermission while everybody charges? No.
You're not going to be swapping batteries out, that's for sure.
No. Because those batteries are not light.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't see NASCAR going electric in any imaginable sense of the word foreseeable future at all. But
do you see a possibility of something like a hybrid? Do you think that's possible?
no, because here's the thing with the impacts that those cars withstand, with the heat that those cars generate,
those batteries can't take that much heat.
Yeah, those batteries are not that stable.
Right.
And you're going to start putting
It's
drivers.
over and
You're going
over
to start
again.
putting drivers, crews, and fans' lives at stake if one of those cars ignites.
Right.
Because if a battery goes up, if battery explodes,
Oh yeah.
that driver's dead. We will
Yeah.
physically watch a man die on national television because
Right.
his car will careen into the wall, whether it be the outside retaining wall or the inside retaining wall, and he will not be able to get out of that car.
Right.
And then the fumes coming off of that car, it will destroy the surface, the race surface that it's on.
Oh yeah.
And then
It's
they'll just
so
have
hot.
to let it burn itself out because lithium burns underwater.
Right.
So fire departments, when they respond to an EV fire, they just they drown it as much as possible, and then they have to submerge the car in water, and it still continues to burn for a number of days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the hot spot persists.
yeah. So I mean, with the demands on that mechanical equipment, I do not see hybrid EV. I don't see any of that in NASCAR's future. The race next week is the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at Phoenix. It is going to kick off at 2:00 Eastern or 2:00 Central Time on Sunday, Sunday the 5th. That is this Sunday. I'm going to pick the race to listen to because that's gonna be the day that I have to take my boys back to their mom. So we're going to be in the car listening to the race because I care more about this race than I do the Cowboys and Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm being upfront about that. It's going to be on NBC, MRN, Motor Racing Network, or Sirius XM. NASCAR Sirius Channel 88, I believe it is. I'm excited for it. As long as it's a Hendrick driver, I would prefer to see Kyle Larson win the championship. I am not going to be upset if it's Ryan Blaney or William Byron. Christopher Bell, I don't have a whole lot of hatred towards or discontent towards. My main chief complaint with him is the fact that he drives for Joe Gibbs. That's basically about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that I tolerate Joe Gibbs, but I mean, the coach has been in the game for a very long time. I just don't like the way this organization is run. I just really don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's with the exception. I mean, what Joe Gibbs has done, okay, he's bankrolled his snotty little grandson, Ty Gibbs, into the Cup Series before he was ready. Absolutely before he was ready. I mean, Ty Gibbs stumbled his way into an Xfinity Series championship last year. And it was all bankrolled on granddaddy's money with the best equipment in the field. You know, so I mean, there were I think there were 3 junior motorsports drivers in the championship, 4, and then there was Ty Gibbs. And Ty Gibbs, his car, it was hooked up. I mean, they had that car set up for that track and set aside probably a good 2 months, 3 months before he even qualified for the championship race.
Yeah.
So they had that car set aside just in case. And I mean, he won the race. Great. Good on him. Won the championship. Great on him. It's tragic that his dad literally died the next day. But actually it was that night. They were out celebrating and his dad died. But
Yeah.
you know, all that aside, Ty Gibbs, he was not ready. Not ready. He is involved in way too many accidents. He continuously runs out of talent at the most inopportune times.
Yep.
So, and that all hangs on the shoulders of Joe Gibbs, because the second that Ty Gibbs gets into a really bad accident and he hurts somebody or himself, Grandpa Joe's got nobody but himself to blame.
Yep.
100%. Besides that, you know, I mean, now I do like Martin Truex Jr. I like seeing him win. Because I mean he's a solid dude, great racer, tons of talent. Denny Hamlin, on the other hand, fuck that guy. But
Yeah.
I got about as much use for Denny Hamlin as I do Joey Logano, and I like Joey Logano just a smidge more, if that tells you anything. And you've heard me talk about Joey Logano, so but, yeah,
With
I mean,
1,000 sons.
yeah. So I mean, but with the field, with the 4 drivers that are eligible for the championship next weekend, it's a toss up, and I would be pretty content with it. Obviously, I mean, I want to see a Hendrick Motorsports driver. I want to see a Hendricks Motorsports. We're wrapping it up. I want to see a Hendricks Motorsports driver, win the championship. Obviously, I want to see Kyle Larson win it. That would be great.
Ideal, yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting race to watch, or in my case, listen to. But yeah, I think we're going to land this plane. Colin, we did not do your outro, dude.
Oh, we didn't.
So we're going to segue the outro into the landing of the plane. Do we have any comments, questions, concerns from the comment section? And I'm not talking about you, Chris, or David. I'm talking about the 2 ladies who are in attendance right now.
Yeah.
No.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Bueller.
It takes time to type and everything. We can't see
I
if they're typing.
know, but I'm just saying. I could get a text from my daughter. Whatever. No, nobody. No comments. Going once.
Yeah, she said nope.
Going twice. So, okay. Without further ado,
Gone without regard for your moral well-being. You have been witness to yet another traumatic episode of my genetic code assaulting your soul without consent. Ladies and gentlemen, angry faithful of all ages, this has been Joke Time with Colin.
my daughter, in true skeleton fashion, texts me negative Ghost Rider.
Love it.
That pattern is full. All right. All right, David, take us out, man.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Nerd Sports episode 132. I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
And I am Chris Jacka.
We need to hear from Colin. He's still there. He's still there.
Is he still there?
Colin, bro.
Lurking in the darkness.
He is lurking in the darkness. All right, let's try that again because he's back now. Yeah, all right, so that's David. I'm Johnny.
I'm
Chris. And you are?
Late as usual.
You are?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Say your name. Say your name.
You knew what I was about to do.
Colin Skill.
There we go.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for listening and everything. And Air Force is going to be Army. Talk to you
I
later.
heard that part once, David. It went.